Hi there. Well, it's Monday, February 28th, and it's Dr. Bob with your master pattern report for this week. Okay, so let's start with a business political issue. Over the weekend, the 3M chairman told reporters and newspapers, quote, "I judge people by their feet, not by their mouth. His instincts are anti-business." And he was referring to our president. Now, there's no doubt that doing business or getting rich is getting much more difficult in the United States. Regulations are becoming the mainstay, even more important than taxation. The restrictions being placed on entrepreneurs, businesses, are becoming more and more offensive and restrictive, and consequently affecting the wealth and welfare of the country, rich and poor alike. If you don't have rich people and businesses doing well, you will not have middle class and lower class people doing anything. People have got to learn that. The Brits learned that the hard way this past 40 years, but they're learning it. Now, on a socio-economic area, as we have said over and over again, law and order is breaking down and will be one of the major issues in our country's demise. Lots of this unrest stems from poor leadership. No two ways about it. We are witnessing historic times all over the world. So be cautious in your investments and don't expect things to ever be normal again. The world is changing, and in some cases for good, and some cases for bad. But one thing is for sure, it's changing dramatically. So where's all the above taking us? Well, for one thing, to a more responsible, less apathetic lifestyle. What to do? Well, for one thing, save as much as you can. Cut back spending. Look for those super investments. If you don't have enough money to be an investor, partner up with others. Join or form an investment club. It can be done. By the way, look for some, in the area of predictions, look for some heavy turmoil in China soon. This world revolution is, there's not going to be very many countries that are not going to be touched by this. On the economic front, watch for some bad news concerning the Federal Reserve, perhaps in April. Not good, folks. Other predictions: the S&P at somewhere around 1264 at March 30th. Okay, keep your eye on that. Silver has hit a high, but gold and silver are struggling here. Now, if it pulls back, possibly by the end of this week, say approximately 10%, then buy more for the long run. I really prefer if there's some way you can buy the actual silver and not necessarily the stocks or the futures. There's not enough gold or silver around to fulfill those contracts. You'd be better off having the actual metal in your possession in some fashion. I was asked last week to say something about the geophysical phenomenon that's been affecting our planet. I believe I mentioned last year that 2012 will bring critical sunspot activity to the planet. Magnetic pulses, things of that sort. These sun magnetic pulses will knock out all sorts of communications, everything. The thing is, it would be worldwide, so don't count on moving someplace that's safe. I really, at this point, I don't know where that might be. Certainly not on this planet. Rather, try and prepare yourself for the worst here. read up and research on how to preserve batteries, food, emergency heat pumps, and things of that sort. We'll have more of this to come in the future, but don't discard this. On top of everything else that's happening, the worst thing in the world could be that we have some sort of communications failure, electronic failure, and you can't get to your bank, or your bank can't help you with your checking account or with your credit card. So, a word to the wise. Okay, and we'll deal more with this as we get later into the year, and you see a lot of this stuff going on. With our geophysical phenomenon, with the weather and snow and rain and cold and hot and everything else. Okay, oil. Watch for a gap down here. I would say probably at the latest by mid-month. I think you'll see it take a drop down here, and it may well be very prompt. Interest rates should spike this month as well. I think that we started to see some big problems with our economic engine as interest rates started to move up, and they're going to get testy here, folks. Now, what I perceive will happen if interest rates start up in a spike fashion, which could happen, and could happen, relatively soon before the end of this year. You will then see a stagflation. We're definitely in a deflation now, but as inflation starts to hit with higher gas prices, higher oil prices, higher commodity prices, higher interest rate pricing, you will see this inflation on top and mixed with deflation. We saw that in the 70s. Go back and research the 70s. They were not good times, folks. They were not good times at all. Very unstable. Okay, the S&P may well struggle upward for the next 2 weeks. Then, okay, also the dollar may decline further this month. It looks like it's weakening. If anything further happens with euros, then the dollar may increase. But there's too much bad news coming out now with the country. Even though people are feeling better, they are. The market is feeling better. Main Street is feeling better. There's no two ways about it. Does not mean anything. All right? Word to the wise is sufficient. So you may well see a decline further this month in the dollar. A silver move sometime around the 3rd of this week. What's that? That's Thursday. Okay, and the S&P on the 4th. So be careful with this. Watch out again for your investments. Be alert, folks. Things are changing, and I think what's going to happen to a lot of people in a lot of ways. One day we're going to wake up and we're going to say, "How did this happen? Where am I? What do I do now?" Get ahead of the curve, guys and gals. Please wake up. It's time. Have a good week.